Hi, this is James Knox again. I was going to do a tutorial on Blender. My last tutorial, Cinema 4D, I listened to later, and it was kind of choppy, so I will try to be more clear about what I'm saying in this one. Okay, first of all, you got your default cube. I'll delete that. Okay, I'm going to show you actually how to make a particle system. When I first started out with Blender, I didn't know how to do that, so I would like to make a beginner's tutorial right now on particle systems. So if you want just like a simple particle system, just make a sphere like an explosion. This is how I found it's the best way to make an explosion if you're not wanting like the high quality stuff. If you're just wanting a simple explosion, do this. Okay, take your sphere and go to go to the Object tab, and then go to Particle button, press Add New, which adds a particle system, press Random and Even. Now see, let me turn these off again. If you have a particle system, pull the normal up and random up, which makes the particles actually go out away from the object. If you don't have even and random on, it goes around the object and goes from each face as it does. But if you press random and even, it emits from all the faces at once. Okay, to do an explosion, put this down to about that small, put lock rotate scale, move the frames up to about 91, pull this up like that. Okay, now go over here and press Add New, press Halo, press Shaders, press Shade Alpha X, put the color to red, add a texture, and the texture needs to be a cloud texture. Go back over here, press Map, get this. Okay, now that will make your basic fire. Okay, now watch. See how it goes out as it's emitting? It may not look good right now, but if you do this right, let me go ahead and go back over here to particle, and let me pull the normal up some more. Not that much. No. Gotta get just right. Okay, that's about right. It just about follows those particles. Okay. Now go over here and press AVI Raw. 15 frames a second. Turn off shader and ray tracing. You don't need those. And take these down to 2 parts, press Image Editor, and put these up to 7 threads. Okay. Now, just press Animate. Now, what you can see, it's starting off as like a ball of fire, and it's going to spread out here in a minute. Now, this is, if you have never used Blender much and you don't know how to use the rendering engine, the rendering engine renders frame by frame and then puts it together in video format. I use AVI Raw because I find it works with pretty much any editor. I use the editor Sony Vegas Pro 9 and Sony Vegas Pro 10, Movie Studio, Platinum Edition, and I've also used Windows Movie Maker, but I prefer the more the paid-for items because they do better editing. But if you're just using Windows Movie Maker, which I used for a long time, you might want to try installing video codecs. I found that helpful when I was doing video editing. Okay, we don't need to see the whole video, but now we'll press play to preview it. Okay, so that's just a simple animation. Okay, next I was going to show do another short segment of this tutorial on how to speed up your rendering time. Okay, by default, if you want to do HD, everything is set like this. Now, always set it to Image Editor because it helps your render time. Okay, up here at the top, it says, okay, when it gets done rendering, like this, it says how long it took to render that frame. So it's 6.02 seconds. So round that off to 6 seconds. Remember that. Turn off subsurf scattering and ray trace render. Watch this. That took it down to 2.85 seconds. Now take these down to 2 X parts, 2 Y parts, and pull the thread up to 7, render 1.79. Okay, now there's other stuff you can do, like you can turn down these, which this makes the image less smooth, but you can add smoothing in later, which I do sometimes. That's still the same render time, but if you pull that up to 16, which is more smooth, it takes a lot longer. See, 3.10 seconds. So leave that at 8 usually. Now, if you're just wanting to render a small animation to see what it's going to look like when you get done, you can do some. At least this is how I want. If I want to see how something's going to happen in the animation, I take this down to 25% and press render, because I mean, see, it takes like no time at all. And I even take it to PC sometimes, the PC setting, which is just a square, and I animate it like that. Because I mean, you can see 0.98 of a second, and that's with running Camtasia Studio to record this. My render time, I've got my render time down to, I think my last render I did, it was somewhere between 0.28 and 0.15 of a second per frame. I have a Toshiba Satellite. The computer I'm running right now on this tutorial is a Toshiba Satellite 296 gigabyte hard drive with 4 gigs of RAM, 128 megabyte video card. I'm running an Intel Centrino processor with Windows Vista Home Premium Edition, and it's a 64-bit operating system. So we can just play this now. So there's your preview. You can get a general idea of what it's going to look like. So hopefully that helps. I know these are some of the questions I had when I was first starting out with Blender. So if anybody would like a tutorial on any specific thing in Blender, you can email me at the at my email address, which is different from the previous one on my last video. It's now JamesKnox1995 at yahoo.com. It will come up on the screen. Just email me there or leave a comment on my YouTube page, and I'll try to do a tutorial on the subject that you've asked about. If I know how to do it, I will try to do that. So, thank you for watching this tutorial on Blender Basics.